So, the episode, The Keys, that could have actually been the season finale. That was like a ballsy episode, and you just took it to a whole nother level. Talk about playing, that version of Cole in that episode.
Well, in the episode of The Keys, I think what you're referring to is that's one of the first times you see a real sea change in the character, where he takes in his environment and really experiences it on a very deep level and sees beauty and opens up, and a lot of the icy exterior begins to thaw, and it's a big moment for the character and a very important point in the journey.
And one of the things he's had to do, make the tough decisions. He's had to kill this season too, and that haunts him a little bit.
It does. He's from a time and a place where violence is an everyday reality, so he is used to it. Especially at the beginning, he's much more willing to kill, to do harm. In his opinion, at that point, the ends justify the means. And the more time that he spends in our time, and the more time he spends with Cassandra, he starts to see the value of life and the value in his own life, and it makes it more difficult to take the life of others.
That's a great relationship in the show. What can we see between the two of you for season 2?
Well, season 2, it's going to be interesting because they're in a very different place. A lot happened in the season finale of the first season, and choices were made on both parts that have fundamentally changed their relationship. So in season 2, they start off in very opposite places, and that's what's going to happen over the course of season 2. They're going to have to find their way again.
Now, do you find that you guys have now created your own path away from the movie?
I think absolutely, and that was always the plan. The movie was always a jumping off point. I know that they wanted to keep the basic mythology, the legend of the story. That's the real powerful, that's the meat of the story. So they kept all that, but then, with the medium of television, you're able to spin that story off into many new different directions and really tell a much longer, more epic tale.
All right, well, great. Good to see you again, buddy. Maybe we'll see you next Christmas. We met in New York.
Yes.
And you talked to my wife.
Yes, at the party. It's very
yes,
nice
that's
to
right.
see you.
Yeah. It's great to be here for 12 Monkeys. And, hey, this is cool for you. You get to be, we just got it from your showrunner. You get to be more of a partner.
What did Terry say?
Well, we're gonna see alternate versions of you. You got some challenges coming up, girl.
Don't set me up for even more of a challenge than I already feel. Yeah. Season 2 is going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. You said it. My character has some challenges. I have, as an actor, some really great material that I'm going to get to work with. And that's only the first 3 episodes I'm talking about. So I can't even imagine what the other 10 they have cooking for me are going to be like.
Well, from what we've seen, the relationship with Cole and with Cassandra, with Cassie, has really been one of the bedrocks of the show. And both of you have just bringing your A game to it. What's it been like, just the arc so far that we've seen that you're playing together? I know you're kind of separated a little bit now.
Yeah, we're separated. And we're in alternative worlds that neither one of us has ever experienced yet. I think that, without giving away too many spoilers, I think they become products of their environment. I'll speak more about my character than about his. That's his foundation to speak, his little soapbox. But I get to have this opportunity to live in a world with Dr. Rayleigh that she had only ever heard about from Cole, and she becomes much more adaptive and understands the plague and the people behind it in a way that she formerly had no understanding of before.
And lastly, I think this is one of the ballsiest and most imaginative shows on Sci-Fi. Imagine
Isn't it?
greater. You should picture of 12 monkeys.
Oh, thank you. No, they do a really good job with the material, don't they?
It's like you don't know what's coming, and
No.
then when you see alternate versions, you go, "Oh, that's interesting." You know,
Yeah,
that kind of-
yeah, absolutely. And they're going to do some stuff with time travel and the way that they've written it this year that will really.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Great to see you again.
Nice to see you
And I'm
too.
sure, hopefully, we'll see each other at Christmas again. You know.
I look forward to it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Man, I'm a big fan of yours. My wife and I, since Fringe, really.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, yeah, and not to mention Walking Dead, of course.
Oh, yes.
Ramsey, I mean, just in the first season alone, the arcs you've had to play with him.
Yeah.
I guess the alternate realities of Fringe kind of prepared you a little bit for it.
A little bit. I mean, that was one of the selling points. You know, to do the 12 Monkeys was Terry telling me the arc of the character. He was like, listen, you're not, the character's not in the pilot. What it is just, you're kind of like we're just wetting your beak a little, or the audience's beak, and then you just have this huge, so it was a way to grip the audience, like this ancillary character becomes very pivotal. So that was the hook for me. Yeah.
And and we're seeing a side of you like playing a more sensitive character.
Yeah.
You're always a tough guy. You're always on either side of the law. But this was a nice stretch for you.
Yeah, well, the honest answer to say to that is, you're only good as what you're given. You know what I mean? Most actors could do more than what they do. But, we're in a business that tends to, you're as good as what you last did. Like when I was doing Oz, I could only be an inmate. Could never play a cop.
Right.
And then I play a cop, and then I play an FBI agent. And now they're like, well, he can't play an inmate. I kid you not. It's crazy the responses that you get. But, yeah.
But it's the material, but it's also it's on the page. It's what you bring from your experience and training, and you flesh that guy out. That's really what makes it. It's a combination of both.
Yeah,
really.
no, absolutely. I mean, it's just great that I get to play like a bunch of different things emotionally, which is great. So it wasn't just like a one-trick pony where you're just the ancillary joke buddy guy, but that he's really fighting for something, and that he's morally ambiguous, as all the characters are, but yeah, it was fun.
And for season 2, I mean, the relationship between Ramsey and Cole, I think, is one of the relationships I really like on the show.
Yeah.
Any interesting turns for the two that you can talk about?
Well, I think you're going to see more of their relationship, and I think you're going to see a little bit more coming together or back together. A little bit more of the Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid stuff. But there's the great thing is that there's still that tension there underneath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know if it'll turn again. So it makes for good TV.
Yeah. And lastly, was it fun to play the evil Ramsey?
Listen, man, it's always more fun to play the bad guy. In every film, the bad guys, because you could do anything.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's just more fun. They have to flash your lines. You know what I mean? So the better lighting. So.
Well, great to see you and great to meet you, man. Pleasure. Enjoy.